I want you to imagine this. Grath just finished boot camp and basic combat training. You'll think this young man is ready and prepared to fulfill his duty he's signed up for, right? After all, he passed the worst parts of basic training. As he goes to his first school, he pretends to do the bare minimum to pass by. He gets told off by his superiors time to time to fix himself. And he just does it at the moment he's being told, instead of taking action prior to that and not getting chewed out or talked to for he being the problem. So you'll think he learned to be more disciplined and professional in his uniform and manner on which basic training taught him. But oh no, Grath, he's eating junk food and playing COD until he goes to sleep late at night and doesn't even work out. His physical fitness scores are down, and not because of all the junk food. His body deteriorates into the worst possible form, a mouth breather. What if I told you that was just one experience I had with a lot of adults in the environment I've lived with in the past 9 months? So I'm Andres, and it's been 9 months since I completed my life. I turned it completely around 360 degrees. I went from living in my parents' living room at 18, a traumatized teen with poor discipline, into a grown adult working in the military, just going by the benefits and everything, reaping the goodness of being an enlisted service member. I went from sleeping on a sofa, being a skinny fat kid. In the late years of high school, I was bullied from time to time because I was fat. And then after the pandemic, I started taking self-improvement more seriously, and I started getting into that. So I barely knew how to fight and defend myself, and now I'm training to become a good Marine or whatever, and fighting and everything. So now I'm making this video. So let's talk about lifestyle. That's one of the factors that will determine how much your success skyrockets to the point where you're literally just there forced to change. So how did I went from a high school nobody to the point I envisioned myself with no future, no career, or path to follow? I did track, cross country. My grades were above average. I took epic calculus and computer science. I failed calculus. Man, I remember trying to go as an electrician because, it's a high paying job, right? It's a high paying professional job. So I couldn't even study at home. So you can imagine how much my grades were going down. I couldn't even have the motivation or the freaking desire to do that when I had no desire to learn those things. So my lifestyle in a trauma household only allowed me to reach so far without me going away to work in a 9 to 5 somewhere to pay off a debt loan for a debt that money I didn't have, for a degree that I didn't know I even wanted to search for it. So after high school, all I did was literally just playing video games and doom scrolling YouTube. It was so bad that it literally just restarted that cycle. So here's what I did. I watched self-improvement videos, mainly from Hansa, at the end of my junior year. It gave me wisdom as to why I was so depressed with my state of motivation. I joined the track team and cross-country team with the main goal was to lose my love handles. I started by watching the One Punch Man like an autistic kid, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 5K run and all that. And then I'd be every day trying to do this, struggling like a fat ass kid, wondering why I don't get as much results, wondering why I'm so fat, when I didn't even do the running. But at least I had some more progress, right? So after that, I started taking more seriously. I started taking protein. In the track team, I started going on 3-4 mile runs in the morning, making sure I conditioned myself, and I was even taking showers at 7 a.m. to basically make it in the team, right? To be a part of it. So running had become my new lifestyle and hobby. And look at the change that it did to my body. I went from being skinny fat to an actually, you could see my abs in some of the photos here. So I was no longer that skinny fat kid, but I still had like low confidence, low desire to be more disciplined towards having a future, you know. So even then, running wasn't enough. Being skinny wasn't enough. I wasn't popular or anything. I had a few friends. Some of them my best friends. And then I went to boot camp. And lucky me, guess what many people fail during boot camp? It's running. So if I had joined with like a terrible lifestyle of eating junk food, being fat, being all sad and depressed, with cholesterol all high, with freaking signs of depression and everything, you think I would have made it through boot camp the way I did if plus I got sick there? You think a sick version of me with a terrible lifestyle would have made it past the first month of boot camp? Heck no. I watched as some of my peers dropped because they were getting sick and everything. So you see how like lifestyles can have such an impact, great benefits in the long run. So it's not like a diet or a cheat code. It's literally the way you react to your environment you grew up with, and you work with that. So the military lifestyle is like ain't no different. You rank up, you grow as a leader, you can still live your lifestyle. But you have to know and responsibility to your nation, which is part of your lifestyle. And you have to keep that standard. Now, the second factor that would force you to become successful and better is an environment, depending on which one you are on. So maybe look around you. Maybe the thing you can change. That's my buddy's bed right there. My buddy's rack. He hasn't done shit. He's not doing shit. All he does is not live here, go and like freaking fuck his girlfriend, whatever. That's all he does all day. He comes back. He doesn't go to the gym no more because he's busy doing that. So props to him, I guess. There you go, buddy. So you won't really have much like an environment can affect your lifestyle, your mental health. From like a ghetto to a meritocratic white school, or to being born with wealthy parents, or poor to like abusive parents. Where we grow up, it like determines the lifestyle we take from our parents. And sadly, like in America, our culture is so like oversaturated that parents go literally like smart and capable, hardworking people just like let their kid rot in like an iPad and in the chaos of like the school system. Like I'm just 19, and you can clearly see in today's youth like the form addiction, the lower short attention spans, their sudden like mood swings and all this stuff that's happening, you know, all that stuff. So that didn't help too. So I did something else. I changed my environment. I got away from where I lived. And now I'm one of none of the best environments to grow up as a respectable and successful man in the military world. I don't think I'll convince you like such and Ramos to like give up everything, like go to the like new like take that extreme step of like going to like this environment, going to like example like leave your life to be a monk. Nothing like that. Few people do, and often they don't succeed. So if you change your environment, you're changing the way you can be successful. Just like here, where you're constantly being told to be perfect, to fit that standard, those are things that help you no matter what. And those are the lights that turn off in the building like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes ago. So you won't believe how much that helps. You ever heard of like analogy like evolution, right? Where you have certain island birds and they go out to like a new island and whatever, and they have to adapt to survive. That's basically you adapting to survive in the environment. You have to take what's best from there, of like the top dogs, and turn it into something you can succeed. So what I mean is like following the example, right? Because if you follow an example from someone who's in the bottom scratch, just standing by, and someone like Grath, right? You're just gonna do the bare minimum. Basically gonna be a freaking loser. So I did the best choice for my diagnosis over there. So I threw myself into this colosseum to fight in the military. You will hear like certain stories like, oh, this young boy went to this place and he became successful and everything. But that's because there are so many factors that were forcing him to do that. Like, you can't force. It's like giving up to the chances. Like, you can't just throw a kid to the streets and hope for them like to be successful. Someone found like someone. No, like they need guidance. They need a mentor. They need someone. So sometimes you can't force yourself to like an environment when you find yourself lost and at times even hopeless. So like a guide, a mentor, or perhaps like a whole organization, like where your job is, you're trying to like climb up the ladder, right? There's like no magic fairy giving like a tutorial how to be on top. So you just follow their example. So where I'm at, there's little I can do if I become an NCO to stand on my career. Because there's already so many people doing the same thing, keeping that standard, that you are forced to go ahead and beyond to compete for that post. So I accepted this challenge and embracing my environment in the military because I knew it will give me a strong start. It will kick away all my insecurities. It will give me, take away my self-hatred for life. So I was like constantly blaming myself and depressed. And it made me realize how much I can do other than sacrifice myself maybe 3 or 4 years of my life with student debt, working a part-time, still live in that shitty apartment I used to live in, fighting strongmen in my mind, and basically like being around a bunch of losers. And don't get me wrong, I still see a lot of people here that act like that. They haven't grown up. They're still 18, 19. I'm just 19, and I just got into self-improvement like a year ago. So you won't imagine how much progress I can make in the next few years now that I am in this environment though. Sure, the military might slow me down and won't make me as much like towards like making good videos and stuff. But after that, there's just the sky the limit. I want to make these videos. I want to be successful. I want to be successful in the self-improvement. I want to help other young men to see like the truth of why we don't have to suffer for so little. Hope that makes sense. This is Andres, and these are the 2 factors that will make you successful almost instantly because you're forced to it.